All right, welcome back. So this is the start of Unit 13. And we're going to be starting this unit now and then finishing before winter break. So this will be relatively quick unit. The focus of this is going to be to work with what's referred to as similarity, and you're going to see shapes again, triangles, quadrilaterals, pentagons, different shapes. We're going to compare them. We're also going to move into right triangle trigonometry. So on your calculators, if you've seen sine, cosine, and tangent, we're going to move into that sort of stuff and working with those. So the first thing I'd like you to do, group of 4 shapes on the notes here, and just kind of take a look at these for a while and think about them. Each of these 4 shapes can be said to not belong to the group for some reason. Now it's not automatically the first one or the last one, but can you find the reason why maybe this one, a difference why it wouldn't say it wouldn't belong? It doesn't mean we get to throw it out or anything, but go through and see what's a different reason, like the one on the bottom left here wouldn't belong, or the one on the top right. What's the reason you could say these 3 belong, that one doesn't, or these 3 belong, that one doesn't? Just go through, think about how are these things related or not related. So one for each shape. Now, when you start, and feel free to pause the video at this point to work on that for a few minutes. And as we're resuming here, 3 of the 4 shapes shown are above congruent. So we talked about congruent. They are the exact same shape and size. So congruent means they're identical. I can take them. It's on a computer, copying something and pasting it, having 2 of them on there, having 3 in a row. But I know where that's going to come up, and we're going to see is similar. Similar, congruent has that symbol, where similar has a symbol on its own. It just doesn't have the equal sign underneath it. All right, so what do you think about is the difference between congruent and similarity? Okay, congruent, that similarity. Think about it for a second. Congruent, identical. Congruent can mean identical. It can mean a replica or copy paste. And congruent figures are actually similar, but similar figures are not congruent. It's kind of one of those back and forth things. So similar is what we do in our phones when we take that and go, whoa, make it bigger, or whoa, make it smaller to see it better, or look at details when you zoom in and zoom out. Similar, again, is the same shape. Similar is the same shape, but size is different, or can be different. I can compare 2 of them and they're going to have the same size. There's going to be a ratio, so we're going to do a ratio or a comparison. A ratio or comparison in terms of the numbers and the sides. All right. So go ahead, pause for a second, draw 2 shapes that are identical and equal to each other. Okay, welcome back. I'm going to draw 2 of them. And if I copy paste them, copy paste them, maybe with a little tilt there, they're intended to be identical. Okay, so draw your own 2 shapes that are similar but not congruent. So exactly congruent. Similar would be a 1-to-1 ratio, the same exact size. Similar but not congruent. Go ahead, pause. Draw something. Okay, so welcome back. This is my drawing. Let's see how well I can do this. These 2 shapes are similar. Same shape. If I drew really well. Same shape, but shrunken down to be a different size. All right, but when this was done, all parts of it were shrunken at the same rate or the same ratio. All right, so when we look at these, you're going to see similarity statements. You're going to see letters listed again. You see letters on the shapes and that sort of stuff. If 2 polygons are similar, then they have the same shape, but can be different sizes. So they are the same shape, but can be different sizes. They can be the same. We usually make them one bigger or one smaller, but it doesn't have to be by a lot. And when this happens, corresponding, oh, that word came up again. Corresponding angles are congruent. And sides are in equal ratios, also known as a proportion. Also known to you guys as fractions. All right, so when you see something, it doesn't matter the shape of it. But if you're given a similarity statement, the same thing we did with triangles, we line the things up. All right, so if I'm looking at this, the corresponding angles are congruent. So in this one, I have angle K, I have angle L, I have angle M, and I have angle N. Now, this is a quadrilateral. And from this stuff we just did, every angles, all 4 angles in a quadrilateral will add up to 360. So no matter if I increase the size, that's not going to change that the angles add up to 360. So no matter how small it is, it'll add up to 360. And if it gets bigger, it'll still add up to 360. This is why the corresponding angles are congruent, which means you follow the order of the letters. Angle K, first letter, be congruent to, I know you just said it, angle P. Angle L is going to be the exact same thing, now especially because we have the statement, would be congruent to angle Q. Angle M here would be the 3rd letter, so it'll be equal to angle R. And then lastly, angle N be congruent to angle S. Okay, angles don't change at all from the triangle stuff we just did. If we line them up, first letter, second letter, third letter, last letter, last letter. Corresponding means they're in the same position. The thing we need to do is we need to work with ratios and proportions. Okay, otherwise known as fractions. And you guys start sweating and when you start thinking of fractions. Ah! Okay, a ratio is just a comparison of two things. So a ratio is a comparison of two things. So I have, doesn't look, if I'm going to compare the number of green pens to purple pens, green to purple, that's a ratio. So my example is comparing the green pens to purple pens. Okay, I have 1 green and I have 3 purple, so you could do it as 1 to 3. You could literally write 1 with the word 2, 3, not TWO, TO. And as a fraction, it would be 1 versus 3, so 1 over 3. Ratio is just comparing two things. If you go to my fridge, the number of grapes versus the number of apples, the number of candy bars my kids got on Halloween versus the number of non-chocolate, stuff like that. So that is a ratio. Versus a proportion is when we have an equal sign. A proportion is when you have two ratios and an equal sign in between. Okay, and you can see some proportions down here. And to do this, to solve, we're going to do a lot of solving. And this is, quite frankly, a way to get rid of the fractions. We're going to solve by cross multiplying. Okay, there's going to be unknowns. And when we're doing these, we're going to have parts of these shapes we're going to know, but we're going to figure out how much to make it bigger or smaller by. So we're going to be able to figure out side lengths of missing things. So as a review, cross multiplying, solve the proportions. We're going to cross multiply. To cross multiply, I multiply the things diagonally. So I do 12 times r. I do 18 times 2, or 2 times 18, doesn't matter the order. And the equal sign goes in between them. I really like cross multiplying because you guys freak out with fractions. However, when you cross multiply, we get rid of the fractions. So it makes things a little bit nicer. So we have 12r is equal to 36. Solve, finish solving, do some algebra work, you get r equals 3. All right, on these. Okay, I'm gonna have this one here. I'm gonna do 24 times 8 with my calculator. Just please use your calculators to get them out of your bags, wherever they are. Stop using the ones on your phone. 192. Now when I go the other way and I multiply those things, I don't get a choice on what I get to multiply. I have to multiply both parts to that, so I'm distributing that 4. So you can do this all in one step, but if it helps you write 4 times b plus 1, make sure both things get multiplied by the 4. And then you keep solving. 188. All right, I got 188 divided by 4. you're going to get 47. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, this way. Doesn't matter which way you multiply first. And it honestly doesn't matter which side gets what. 30 times 5 is 150. I'm going to do 2 times both of those. If you can do that in one step, that's fine. 6t. Oops, sorry, that way. 6, that's a t. Plus 18. Finish solving if you're comfortable. Double check your answer. 132 divided by 6. All right, so taking this to our shapes that are similar. That's one of my cat, Emmett. Yeah, you saying hi? All right, so on this, when we're setting up proportions like here, this is looking at the order of the letters. All right, so if you're looking at this, it's the first 2 should be compared to the first 2. And you can also check that this pattern continues, that CD should be compared with GH. Okay, so to fill this in, what's missing, if it's AB over, well, EF is missing. That's an E. All right, so on this one, I'm just going to rewrite this again because I already wrote on it. You don't have to rewrite it. That's okay. All right, top to bottom, I always go left to right. So something on the left compared with F and G here. All right, so if you know where those are, the first one should be in the same position. So B to C. So B to C compares with F to G, and D to A compares with H to E. So just filling in those things. Filling in, finding the letters. So feel free to pause, go to the number 5, try to fill that in, double check back in. All right, so if I did RQ here, so second and third, so CD compares to RQ, and BC compares with FR. Looks good. All right, this one I have DY, so I find the same one, DY and QZ compares with YB and ZF. All right. All right, last couple things here. It says, write a similarity statement given the similar quadrilaterals below. So, doesn't matter which one you start with. Just use one of them and go around in a clockwise fashion. It doesn't matter which letter you start with. I'll go in alphabetical order. I went A, and then I B, and I'm going around C, and then D. I don't want to jump around. Go A to C to D to B. Go either clockwise or counterclockwise. If your order changes on the first, your order is going to change on that second one. Now I got to match this up though. A is 105. That matches with W at 105. So that has to be my first letter because they match up. B is 45, second letter, so X is second letter. 90 is third, so that's a Y. And D is the same as Z. All right, writing a proportionality statement means I write all the sides out, what sides I can compare with each other. So AB, be compared with WX. BC can be compared with XY. And I'm writing all of them so they all have pairs. So there's 4 sides, so there should be 4 ratios here. C to D can be compared with YZ. And lastly, A to D or D to A, either way is fine, and ZW. So go ahead and if you're already comfortable, do the last one. I'm going to go with K, C, A, Q. Okay, if you wrote something else down, that's fine. Just make sure your others rearranged the same way. So 8K is the same 3 as H. C is the same as J. A matches up with P. And Q matches up with G. All right, if you've already written a proportionality statement, KC, now it does not have to be listed first, but KC should be compared with HJ. So those should be in a fraction. C to A, comparable to JP. AQ with PG. And QK or KQ with GH. If you have any questions, send me an email, let me know, comment, something. I will be here after school for office hours, so stop in if you have anything. Otherwise, we'll see you soon. Bye.